How we doing, Gideonstactical crew? Hope you guys are well. Doing a little bushwhacking today and figured it'd be a great opportunity as I'm testing some gear to tell you about the knife on my hip right here, which has the potential to be like a no-brainer if you're looking for an LWB. And you may be like, well, what's an LWB? Large Wilderness Blade. And that's what I have right here with the Off-Grid Knives Tracker XXL. XXL, baby. Just for some good reference, you know, the XXL sits right between the BK7 and the BK9, but has a more, you know, wilderness, organic profile versus thumb ramps and swedges and clips like the Becker series, which maybe you love that about the Becker series, or maybe you don't. And you may be like, well, what the heck is an LWB? We've been talking about it a lot this year in a couple different videos. It's kind of a concept that I have of I don't believe in one tool options, but if we were to have that concept of a knife that is not like a compact camp knife and it's not a giant chopper, that's able to be used with finesse to do carving and whittling and feather sticking, you're not going to get fatigued, you're not going to be like, I hate this, and also, you know, weighing the cost of the weight of the tool. How much does it weigh? You know, you can have this massive boat anchor, but would you actually pack with it? Like what I'm doing today, hiking around. And then would you have to customize anything on this? Do you have to trick anything out? You know, like there's lots of great options out there. I think of like the Becker series, but you got to get handle scales and then Kydex sheath and then, you know, whatever. Before you know, you're over $200. And this thing is going for $110 over on the Off-Grid website. And guys, I know they're doing sales like all the time, and I think you get prompted a lot, you know, like $10 off or 10% off. I mean, so theoretically, you might be able to get these for like about $100. And it's just the enlarged version of the tracker that I've already previously reviewed. I'll try and link that video wherever. That I believe is like the one and done camp knife for under $100 currently at the end of 2025. Because I reviewed their first version, and I had some critiques on that, and they listened to that video apparently, did the critiques, and they actually messaged me, and they said, hey, Aaron, we watched your video, and we actually, like, the second version we're tweaking, and I couldn't find anything wrong with that second round. And so this is just the bigger version of that, but I wanted to see really what this blade could do. And so we're just going to dive in here real quick. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. And this knife does check so many boxes, but there is one that I'm like, so we got to hit that here in a bit. But let's just start with the Kydex sheath. Awesome, taco designed. I mean, guys, to get this type of Kydex, you know, on a Becker or something, you're going to pay $50-$60. So this locks in beautifully. Not going to lose the blade. And it's ambi. You know, you just unscrew these two right here. You can swap it left to right, Velcro, button snap, rides low. I mean, I've been trekking with it. Fantastic for that. They have a couple different color combinations. This is the coyote with like the kind of smoke wash, and this is after all the use. Look at that. You probably can't even tell. I've used this thing to nauseum basically. Okay, the first thing when I'm looking for a large wilderness blade is weight. But before we dive into that, we all know how important it is to stay hydrated on trail. Well, that's where today's sponsor, Hardside Hydration, comes into play. Unlike all those cumbersome water bladders that tend to leak, are hard to clean and store, this hose in their swig rig system attaches to your favorite wide mouth water bottle like a Nalgene, and it can now stay on the exterior of your pack. You can pull water straight up, and then it's easier to fill, easier to clean, easier to store. And if you prefer smaller mouth, say smart bottles and that type of water bottle, you can get their ultralight swig rig, which will fit on 28mm mouthed water bottles. The best part, they've recently released their nano water filter. This fits on the original swig rig and will go into any wide mouth water bottle. And now we have inline water filtration. You can literally scoop up the dirty water from your water source and drink while you're on the trail, just making the accessibility and the speed in which you can filter water that much faster. So I'm gonna have a link popping up as well as in the description box below, along with my 10% off promo code that you can apply towards your purchase. I invite you guys to check it out, start exploring the different options to figure out which swig rig makes sense for you so that you can stay hydrated when you're on your adventures. This thing, the knife itself, 14 ounces. So if it's under a pound, I'm already like my ears perk up because I can carry it. It's going to give me a lot of swinging power, chopping power, but it's not so heavy that I won't carry the tool. So that would be the first aspect. Now, no lanyard, but the handle is just so well designed. I think I can get away with it. Oh yeah, dude. If you don't want to do a lanyard, especially for this type of work, which is like what any small hatchet is going to do, this is going to do. Pack axe, pack hatchet. That along with the 7.5 inches of blade length from handle to tip, 7.5. So we are definitely getting not in the chopping, capability in the sense of just a dedicated chopper, because it's short enough that I still have enough balance. The weight isn't starting to go so far away from my hand that I can't control it, but I have a lot to span with. To split wood, absolutely does that. No problem with the 5mm stock thickness and the high saber grind. And then you add to that you're able to span, pretty good size pieces of wood, but still have enough weight to be able to chop with as well, to get the chopping in that you want, delimb. I'm talking about stuff like the thickness of your arm. If you had to, you totally could. Of course, a hatchet, of course, a saw. But again, theoretically, what if you didn't have those? What if you didn't pack those? What if you didn't carry them with you and you're just like, I just want one blade, and then maybe I'm going to carry like a little Mora for all the really thin, light-duty stuff, and I don't want to take a saw and an axe. I'm just hiking, but I want to have this in case I need it to build shelters and fire and stuff like that. So those attributes, absolutely. Another reason why you don't have to upgrade is the G10 contoured handles. Now, when I did my original review on the first rendition of this version, they were blocky and kind of square. They have completely radiused all the shoulders now, dialed down the texture, but still giving you this like honeycomb vibe right here with a little bit of a bird beak. You got the lanyard hole. I mean, it's locked in, guys. I mean, I can chop without even having a lanyard, but I mean, it helps to accelerate the chops if you're going to be using it quite a bit like that. Good indexing, but it's a very big, fat, full handle. Really working well. It is going to have a 90-degree spine, so I can strike and throw sparks with that. That aspect as well makes it so that, one, I'm not upgrading sheaths, I'm not having to get aftermarket handle scales and all this stuff to get good ergonomics and good carrying options. And then finally, so these are made in Taiwan. Awesome. These are using crowd-treated D2 Rockwell 61. That is nuts. Because this is like the third or fourth knife I have used from them with that steel, and I have gone to town on these. I have not broken them, and I have not chipped them. That is wild. Ooh, look at the little babies. Oh my gosh. Dude, this is after all of the use. This is nuts, dude. Oh my gosh. And as long as I'm using like a full work sharp field sharpener, I can totally resharpen this thing. Like no problem. Absolutely no problem at all, guys, to hone and maintain this blade. Because of the very high grind, I can, even in a pinch, like put the lanyard around my arm and then do like a skinning move if I need to. I could totally do food prep. This is a fun blade to do like melons and watermelon, pineapple, stuff like that. Process that if you need to around your campsite and your camp out. I don't know if you'd be backpacking that in. Okay, so like choking up, how did it do with that? Well, it did okay. This is the one area. Okay, so I'm beating the sun now. Here's the issue. The knife could have used a choil. Look at that. Like it was nothing. Like it. Oh, shut up, brah. Dude. I'm digging it. Digging it. Everybody likes it. Dude, that is easy. Easy sauce. Now it would be easier with a choil to be able to get up. Part of it is just how broad the blade is too. If the blade was maybe a little narrower, we could get away with it from edge to spine. It's so broad. Not a bad thing, but it's just like, it's where the choilage would help. Comment. Choil, no choil on knives, regardless of size. I mean, I'm a choil guy on, I would say, over 5-inch cutting edge. Then I like a choil under 5-inch cutting edge. No thanks. And kind of a waste of space. Now, it's not unusable, and if you were to say like compare this to an SE Hungalis, even a Hungalis 2, or compare it to you know, a Becker BK9. This is more ergonomic because the balance point is closer to my hand. And if you were to say go carve 10 feather sticks, and you put this, the SE Hungalis 1 or 2, and a BK9, I would take this because it's still more ergonomic and more balanced towards my hand. But because of how broad the blade is and just how long it is, if I had had a dedicated choil, this is not big enough for me to really rest my finger, I could have really gotten the work done to the next level. So I would say like it's 8 out of 10 for the finer stuff. It could have been like kicked up to 11. It could have been turned up to 11 if they had designed it that way. If I had designed it, I would have absolutely put a choil on this. I think this size of knife can use it. The original 5-inch version absolutely does not need a choil. So that's me and my mileage on that front. But when we look at this LWB, large wilderness blade concept, if you are on a budget, I can't even think of anything that comes close that has the quality, the fit and finish, zero upgrading. You know, you're getting the full tang, you're getting all the stuff. And if you're like, I don't want to go spend, you know, $200-300 on like M7s from Lion Steel or Architect AK8s, you know, I mean, that's what you're going to pay. You're going to pay double, triple the price. This is going to be very, very close. And if you want to get wild, you could take a grinder to it or something and very slowly, carefully, you know, put a choil yourself. I'll be very curious for those of you who already own one. Do you think it is necessary to have a choil on this? But I think that if you are in that market and you're wanting something that's packable, but very large and still can do fine work and isn't just a dedicated chopper, you could not go wrong with this blade. And it is very close to perfection. Not quite, but close. And I'm super, super impressed for what this XXL tracker brings to the table. So I just want to share my thoughts with you guys. You can check out that video on the original camp size version if you want. And I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on this blade, whether or not it makes sense for you, especially if you own one. I always love hearing your guys' feedback. Till next time, I invite you to check out the other videos, subscribe, and always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared. I'll see you out there.